12,000 years ago, 7,000 years before Stonehenge was even imagined, people who had never planted a single seed, never shaped a clay pot, never written a single word, carved 20-ton stone pillars out of bedrock and raised them toward the sky. Then they buried the entire site on purpose and walked away. Göbekli Tepe sits on a barren hilltop in southeastern Turkey. Radiocarbon dating places its oldest structures at approximately 9,600 BCE. That makes it older than agriculture, older than pottery, older than civilization itself, by every definition we've ever used. For a century, archaeology had a clean story. Humans farmed, then settled, then built temples. Göbekli Tepe destroyed that story. And the most unsettling part? Only 5% of the site has been excavated. What's still underground could change everything we think we know. Again, in 1963, a joint survey from the University of Istanbul and the University of Chicago flagged an unusual hilltop near the city of Şanlıurfa. Researchers noted broken limestone slabs scattered across the surface. They assumed it was an abandoned medieval cemetery. They moved on. 3 decades later, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt saw photographs from that same survey and recognized something the original team had missed. Those weren't gravestones, they were the tops of something much, much older. Schmidt began excavations in 1995, partnering with the German Archaeological Institute and the Şanlıurfa Museum. What he uncovered stunned the archaeological world. Massive T-shaped pillars, some standing over 5 meters tall and weighing between 10 and 20 tons, arranged in concentric circles. Carved into their surfaces, foxes, scorpions, wild boar, cranes, vultures, snakes, lions, not crude scratches. Sophisticated, deeply carved relief sculptures made with stone tools by people who had no metal, no wheels, and no beasts of burden. The site contains multiple enclosures, each built around pairs of central pillars that tower above the rest. Enclosure D, the most striking, features the tallest pillars yet found. These central monoliths are carved with arms, hands, belts, and loincloths. They appear to depict stylized human figures, not decorations, beings. Schmidt proposed a radical interpretation. Göbekli Tepe was not a settlement. There are no residential structures, no hearths, no water sources nearby. It was, he argued, a temple, the world's first known sanctuary, built for ritual gathering by nomadic hunter-gatherer groups who traveled to this hilltop from across the region. The implication was seismic. For generations, archaeologists accepted the Neolithic Revolution model. Agriculture leads to surplus, surplus leads to permanent settlement, settlement leads to social complexity, and complexity finally produces religion and monumental architecture. Göbekli Tepe flipped the entire sequence. Religion came first, the monuments came first, and perhaps, Schmidt theorized, the need to feed the laborers who built those monuments is what drove humans to invent farming in the first place. History didn't unfold the way the textbooks said. Among the most enigmatic artifacts at Göbekli Tepe is Pillar 43, now widely known as the Vulture Stone. Carved into its surface is a headless human figure beneath a massive vulture, surrounded by other animals and abstract symbols. Some researchers have proposed that the carvings encode astronomical information, possibly a record of the positions of constellations at a specific moment in deep prehistory. The interpretation remains debated and unconfirmed, but the sheer complexity of the imagery makes one thing clear. These were not primitive people scratching pictures on rocks. This was a symbolic language, a system of meaning that we cannot yet fully decode. Then there's the mystery that keeps archaeologists awake at night. Around 8000 BCE, after roughly 1600 years of continuous construction and use, the builders of Göbekli Tepe deliberately buried the entire complex. They filled the enclosures with thousands of tons of soil, rubble, animal bones, and stone tools, layer by layer, intentionally. The backfill wasn't natural erosion or collapse. Stratigraphic analysis of the fill material confirmed it was brought in from elsewhere and placed with purpose. Why? No one knows. Was it a ritual closure? A way to consecrate the site and seal its power? Were they protecting it from an enemy? Were they ending one era of belief and beginning another? Klaus Schmidt, who dedicated the rest of his life to the site until his sudden death in 2014, never reached a definitive answer. And just when the mystery of Göbekli Tepe seemed singular enough, Turkish archaeologists began finding more. Karahantepe, located roughly 35 kilometers to the southeast, revealed its own monumental structures, including an underground chamber lined with carved human heads staring inward from the walls. The Taş Tepeler project, launched by Turkey's Ministry of Culture, has now identified at least a dozen related Neolithic sites across the region. Göbekli Tepe was not alone. It was part of a network. In 2018, Göbekli Tepe received UNESCO World Heritage status. formal recognition from the highest international heritage authority that this site holds outstanding universal value. But the designation also underscored an uncomfortable truth. After more than 2 decades of excavation, archaeologists have uncovered only an estimated 5% of the total complex. Ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed at least 20 additional enclosures still buried beneath the surface, many potentially larger and older than anything exposed so far. Consider what that means. The structures that already shattered our understanding of human history represent a fraction of what's there. The site that rewrote the Neolithic Revolution may only be the introduction, and nearby, the Shanliwurfaman, a life-size carved stone figure with obsidian eyes, discovered in the 1990s and dated to approximately the same period, stands as possibly the oldest naturalistic human statue ever found. Not a rough idol, a face, an expression. Someone looked at stone and saw a person inside it, 12,000 years ago. The implications ripple outward. If organized religion and large-scale cooperative construction preceded agriculture, then the forces that built human civilization were not economic. They were spiritual, social, symbolic. The desire to gather, to worship, to carve meaning into stone, that came before the desire to plant wheat. Every introductory archaeology course, every textbook chapter on the birth of civilization, every tidy narrative about surplus leading to settlement, leading to temples, all of it now carries an asterisk. And the footnote reads, Göbekli Tepe. Klaus Schmidt once said it himself. First came the temple, then the city. We've excavated 5%. What happens when we reach 10, 20? What story will the stone tell then? And are we ready to hear it? 1. Göbekli Tepe proves that hunter-gatherers built monumental architecture 7,000 years before Stonehenge, demolishing the assumption that farming had to come first. 2. The deliberate burial of the entire complex around 8,000 BCE remains one of archaeology's deepest unsolved mysteries, and related sites like Karahantepe show this was not an isolated phenomenon. 3. With only 5% excavated and ground-penetrating radar revealing at least 20 more enclosures underground, the next decade of research at Göbekli Tepe could fundamentally reshape human history a second time. If you want more stories about the discoveries that quietly rewrite everything we thought we knew, subscribe now. Tomorrow, we're going deeper into another site the textbooks still haven't caught up with. You won't want to miss it.